morning, Unity of Walnut Creek. How is everybody? How are you doing at home? So we're in here and we're staying cool, which is fabulous. Please rise in body or spirit. Join us in singing Come Together. One more time through. Come together, heart and soul, as we love together. Young and old, we will sing together, together in one song. Come together from different worlds, we are drawn together. In our own way, we can pray together. Together we are strong. I see God in you. You see God in me. One path, one vision, one family. Come together, dreams and hands, we will join together to build a place we can grow together. Together we are whole. I see God in you. You see God in me. One path, one vision, one family. Come together, heart and soul, as we love together. Young and old, we will sing together, together in one song. Together in one song. Together in one
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek for our Sunday morning service. My name is Don Shaw.
And my name is Danae Legan. Welcome to our service.
We want to greet and bless everyone who is watching online. Hello. Come down in person next week. We still have 3 seats available, so if you're among the early, you can make it.
And air conditioning.
So your presence yes, air conditioning. Your presence adds to our spiritual community. Thank you for joining us.
Everyone knows what this Sunday is, right?
I have no idea.
Birthday
Oh,
Sunday!
birthday Sunday.
If your birthday falls in July, please stand so we can recognize you. And you at home, stand up. We'll sing to you.
And Peter Weiler's standing.
Peter
It's a happy
Weiler!
birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friend. And Jody. Jody, woo! Happy birthday to you. All right.
Our music here is so good. And today we have the marvelous Wendy Wiggs. Wendy,
Wendy.
our guest musician. We have Dusty and Larry on bass and drums respectively. We got Tyler on the keyboards. And Lisa is our song leader today. Thank you for sharing your music.
Now, I have some wonderful information, so please listen carefully. Dr. Cindy? Can't. All right.
You should have seen 9:30.
Okay. Cindy Aker will deliver today's message titled Juneteenth or July 4th, Steps Towards Freedom. Dr. Cindy Aker is a 6-time award winner in areas of social justice, an international keynote speaker, a choir director, and playwright. Her play, Words That Make the Difference, Brown versus Board of Education, has been touring around the United States. She is the author of the book, The Path Beyond Diversity, a book for educators, especially those in states with social justice restrictions. And last but not least, she heads up the Social Justice Task Force for the International Montessori Council. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And I bet some of you didn't know that the International Montessori Council has a social justice task force. Yay.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's the choir director at Unity of Marin. So everybody sing in tune today.
La, 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 la. Okay.
This is a smartphone. Time to turn it off, put it on airplane mode, silent, do whatever you do.
Make it dumb. Okay. Now, let's take a breath. And a moment to be grateful for the land that our center rests upon. This is Bay Miwok and Ohlone land.
We honor the Bay Miwok and Ohlone people of today and are grateful for those who were stewards of this land before us. We commit to taking care of these sacred native grounds and all of Mother Earth.
Unity is a positive path for spiritual living.
Amen to that.
Our vision for the world is, let's say this together. We envision a spiritually awakened world where all life thrives in conscious oneness.
Our mission is who we have come here to be. Let's say this together.
We are a loving, inclusive community, expanding and living our divinity in sacred service for all.
Our core values are love,
Connection,
service,
and wisdom. And we would like to welcome anyone here who is here for the first time. Do we have anyone? If you feel comfortable, raise your hand and we can give you a welcome packet. Yay! All right. Excellent. Welcome. We're so glad to have you with us today.
Mike and Bill and Peggy out there. We've already met some of these people.
All right. Well, welcome. We invite you to visit our Welcome Center bookstore cafe after the service in the patio and receive a welcome gift. And we hope you'll choose to stay and visit after service.
Well, there's also muffins and cashews, coffee and tea. Let's get real.
Okay.
Connection cards are available in the newcomer welcome packets and in the seat pockets in front of you. These are for everyone, so with this card, you may submit a prayer request, and our prayer team will pray with you throughout the week.
You may also share feedback or request information, and please place your card in the basket during the offering. And for those of you viewing online, connection cards are available on the Watch Live page of our website.
We have several activities, some might call it a laundry list, to highlight this week.
It's an active place, what can I tell you? The Unity Men's Group and Earth Care Alliance team, together with Sustainable Contra Costa, invite you to dinner and a movie tonight at 6 p.m. Kiss the Ground is a remarkable documentary that reveals the first viable solution to our climate crisis. We will learn that by regenerating the world's soils, we can completely and rapidly stabilize Earth's climate, restore lost ecosystems, and create abundant food sources. This free event begins with a pasta dinner with vegetarian options and a discussion after the 80-minute film.
And because we are Unity people, even though we asked people to sign up so we would know how much food to prepare, Sustainable Contra Costa, they all signed up. We know how many of them are coming. But our chef has asked me to ask you, how many of you are coming? Show of hands, so we get a little count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 25 people, John. Okay, we're covered. He told me he has food for 20. Are you curious about...
Well, hold on. It is at 6 o'clock.
And did you say it was free?
I did.
It is free. And it doesn't cost anything to come either.
Okay.
It's free food. Are you curious about Reverend Kristen's experiences in Egypt during her sabbatical? She talked about some of them at the message last week. It was kind of interesting. Maybe you're interested in going to Egypt yourself. Well, if so, plan to come this Thursday, July 11th, for Journey to Egypt from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Reverend Kristen will present a 30-minute movie showcasing her enriching experiences in Egypt, followed by an open discussion. We look forward to seeing you there. And the travels continue. On Thursday, July 18th, we will journey to Costa Rica. Reverend Kristen and Brinley will share their time in Costa Rica in pictures and stories. Also, enjoy Costa Rican-inspired artwork by David Brooks. Woo! David, did you bring something to hold up for us? That's fabulous. You'll have to see it.
And that is this Thursday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And now I'd like to invite Tyler to the platform so he can tell us about Live on the Lawn.
Almost missed my cue.
You're here.
Okay, hey everybody. Live on the lawn, right? Yeah. What an awesome experience. It's going to be so great. It's next Saturday. And what better way to spend an evening than a picnic dinner on the lawn with your friends, the absolutely rockin' soul sounds of the Last Minute Band featuring our own Dusty and Daniel, who isn't here today, but it's a great band. It's a great time. We will have the opportunity. You can, of course, always bring your own picnic dinner, but we'll have a taco bar dinner catered by Diana Messitz that you can reserve in advance. Now, you cannot show up at the door and say, oh, I want the taco dinner. So today is your chance, and if you're online, please visit the website, because you can do it there too, to tell us that you want to come and have that delicious taco dinner, which has vegetarian, vegan options. And not only is it going to be a totally fun evening and a good weather forecast, by the way, mild temperatures, I checked, but the people having the most fun will be the volunteers. And we have a sign-up sheet on the table there that you can sign up to help, set up, clean up, all that good stuff. Everybody has a great time doing that. So we'll see you right here. Starts at 6:30.
What about kids, Tyler?
Kids are free. What? Can you believe it? Bring the kids. Bring the neighbors' kids. Recruit some kids. Yeah. So in the bookstore, you can buy your tickets or online on our website. And it's this coming Saturday, the 13th. Live on the lawn. See you there.
So
We're also going to have the wine pull that day, so it's exciting to do that too.
now, kids' admission is free. Kids are not free. And if you're at that stage of life where you're thinking, should I or should they're not free. But they're worth it. Unity's Board of Trustees invites you, everybody in this room, to a community gathering, an important community gathering next Sunday, July 14th at 1 p.m. in the community room. This will be a circle format to hear your questions and provide updates on our community's financial well-being. And part of what this is about is our mortgage is going to be refinanced next year in May, and we got to get ready for this. So this is an important time to find out, here's what we have to do, come and find out. Together, we will explore ideas for how to stabilize and increase our revenue over time. And please bring your ideas and contribute your energy to a community prayer of attraction. Also, bring your own lunch to eat before or during the meeting and bring your questions, feedback, and ideas.
And now I'd like to invite Dr. Cindy Acker to the platform so she can tell us about her workshop on Sunday, July 21st.
So we've all heard about AI, but have you heard of artificial inclusivity? Is it possible? Are you doing it? Is there a difference between diversity and inclusivity? And what does inclusivity have to do with setting a plate for someone before they come for dinner? If you want to know how that affects Unity and this community, then you should come and see me and listen for the workshop.
Yes, it is going to be here, live and in person with Dr. Cindy Acker. on the 21st. The creativity group will be meeting in the community room today because it's so darn hot, so be sure to find them there. And for more information and registration for all our events, please see our website. You may visit the welcome table right out there for flyers.
Okay, and now as we prepare for our time of meditation, please join me in taking a conscious breath and affirming our statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. We began with a chant by our own Laura Stark, followed by music, guided meditation, and silence.
And that's an original chant.
Thank you.
Even prisoners are free, free to change their thoughts and beliefs. Thank you, Spirit, thank you for allowing me to be free. Thank you, Spirit, thank you for allowing me to be me. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Let us take a few moments to breathe that in. Breathe in those words. Breathe in those harmonies. Breathe in that energy right down into our heart space. Let's just relax in our chairs for a few moments. Our feet on the floor. Just loosen the shoulders a bit. Breathe in. Just smile a bit. Give thanks. We're so grateful to be here in this moment together. In this space to share this loving energy. And as we breathe into our heart space, we feel it glow, we feel it open. Just move all of our thoughts into our heart space and give thanks. It's where all the healing is. It's where God talks to us, connects with us, loves us, holds us in beauty. As we breathe that in, we can feel that connection with each other through our heart space. We are here to appreciate and have joy for each other, for nature, our environment, and who we are in this very safe moment. As we notice our heart space, let us take this joy and this realization into meditation for just a moment, into the silence. As we notice our breath, as we notice our heart, as we notice our toes and our fingers, as we notice our presence, the last few moments in commune with God and with our heart space, we give thanks. We give thanks for the blessings that we are in this moment. We give thanks for the beauty that we are in this moment. We give thanks for the sharing that we are in this We We give thanks for all the support and love there is in this moment. We give thanks for the opportunity to be, just be, in this moment. Thank you, God. Amen.
How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul. I'd gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge, so don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart would understand. But love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize it all begins with you. Between your heart and mine, love can you think it's time?
I have to tell you that I am a native San Franciscan, grew up, was born and raised in San Francisco, hated the fog. And my parents were a part of the black migration to the west, and my father wanted to go as far west as possible, and so we ended up near the beach. When I turned 19, I said, where can I go and where can I find no fog? And someone said Walnut Creek. And my mom was afraid of freeways and bridges, and so I hadn't traveled freeways and bridges, so I got some red licorice that I was chewing on. I still love Twizzlers. And I was in the car going across, and someone said, just go across the bridge, get on the freeway, and you'll end up in Walnut Creek. So I went across the bridge, I got on the freeway, was in the right lane, and ended up in Alameda. Got through the tube, and I said, wow, I thought Walnut Creek was a bigger town than this. And that's where I live. So we've just come out of days of commemoration or celebration. Juneteenth, and I speak about Juneteenth a whole lot during the month of June, and July 4th. And I was one of 10 judges in the city of Alameda for the parade. And after 145 floats, float number 140, there was someone who was dressed up as the Statue of Liberty. And I had to pause because it reminded me of the words of Frederick Douglass, as an enslaved person who was asked to speak on the 4th of July, And part of what he said was, the freedom gained is yours, and you may therefore properly celebrate this anniversary, this 4th of July, which is a great fact in your nation's history. But fellow citizens, pardon me, allow me to ask, why am I being called to speak here on this day? What have I or those I represent to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the victim. Now you know why I don't wear red, white, and blue on the 4th of July. Those words, no doubt, represent the voice of millions of people who were captured in bondage and excommunicated from their continent and brought to the US, 12.5 million to be exact, minus the 2 million who died from inhumane conditions on their way, and their offspring. And Frederick Douglass wrote this poem and gave this speech 76 years after July 4th, 1776. He wasn't feeling free 76 years after that. So if that wasn't freedom, then when was freedom? Was freedom June 19th, 1865, for which many people celebrate Juneteenth? I submit not. And let me give you a history lesson. So The very first law that had to do with slavery was in 1808, and it ruled that importation of slaves was against the law. That was the law. It was never enforced, but that was a law back in 1808. So in 1862, September 22nd, Lincoln issued the first of the Emancipation Proclamations. It was actually in parts. And so the first part was a threat. He determined to cripple the Confederacy by issuing a mandate to end slavery if the Confederate States stayed in rebellion. It wasn't a noble effort, it was a war strategy. And he said that if they didn't cease their rebellion by January 1st, 1863, and some people do celebrate that day, hold that thought, the actual proclamation would go into effect. If they didn't cease rebellion by January 1st, on January 1st, that proclamation would go into effect. So they didn't, and his order went into effect, kinda. Lincoln was the head of the Union, not the Confederacy. He had no authority over the Confederacy. So he couldn't say that all slaves would be freed because he only had authority over the Union. Are you with me? It was a nice try, it was a nice statement, but he actually had no authority. He could only say something about the people that he had authority over, and that was the Union. It wasn't the border states between the North and the South, and it definitely wasn't the South. So apart from that, once he issued the proclamation, it then went through the Senate and the House, and we know about that fight between the Senate and the House. And so the Senate reworked some of the Emancipation Proclamation, and then they sent it to the House, who reworked some of the Emancipation Proclamation. They came together, sent it to the states, and that happened on February 1st, 1865. Well, the war ended April 9th, 1865, when Lee surrendered. So then Lincoln had authority over the Union and the Confederacy. That was the moment in which he could say all slaves were free. Problem was, he died 6 days later. So he never actually got to be the person who freed the slaves because he wasn't around. And that's a historical omission that a lot of people don't know. It was Andrew Johnson, who ended up being president during that time period. So the announcement that was supposed to happen on June 19th was something that was going to be delivered by General Galveston, in General Granger in Galveston. And something that I didn't mention earlier was that General Granger was in favor of slavery. He was going to deliver this message, but it wasn't because he felt that slaves should be freed. In fact, he was contacted by slave owners in Texas when they knew that this was going to happen, and they said, we need to hold on to these slaves through the harvest. You can't say what you're going to say because it's going to ruin our crops and completely destroy us financially. And he said, I'll fix that. And so he said something different, and we're going to come up to that in just a minute. When he came to Galveston, he spoke to not the 250,000 enslaved people who were in Texas, but the people who happened to be around. So most of the enslaved people were still not free on June 19th because they didn't know anything about the proclamation that Granger was delivering. They were working, because they were still enslaved. It's only if their enslavers were going to tell them about that and say, oh, we'll let you go, which most of them did not, would they have been freed. The ones who did know, who went back to their enslavers, didn't get the message that they thought they were going to give. John, can we have that video?
Sir, you must pay me for my work.
Paid? Have you lost your mind, slave?
I am not a slave anymore. I am free.
What did you say to me?
I am free, and you owe me for my work.
Says who?
The Emancipation Proclamation and the General. I'm free.
It's illegal for you to read, slave, so you must not be comprehended. You're in a border state, so it don't apply to you. So you're still my slave.
That is not true, sir.
You slaves think this paper's gonna bring heaven on earth? Hell's coming for the next 150 years, and I'm starting with you.
Freedom is defined as the power or right to act, to speak, or to think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. There are 3 types of freedoms: freedom from constraints, freedom to opportunities, and freedom of being, of claiming and owning who you are. So there was the announcement, but the announcement in itself didn't give people freedom from, freedom to, or freedom of being. In fact, there's information that I have to share with you about freedom, and let's have the first slide, John. I went here in South Carolina. I was speaking, and I was walking down a street and saw this sign, and there was an alley that was next to the sign with a bunch of pictures on the side. There wasn't a marquee. People weren't going for a tour or anything. It just happened to be this sign, and I looked at the sign, I looked to the left, and there was this cafe. It used to be like a Woolworth's. It was a 5 and dime and then a lunch counter. And anyone who's old enough, I've been to a lunch counter at a Woolworth's before. And in Rock Hill, South Carolina, back in the 60s, there were 4 students, Black students, who attempted a nonviolent segregation sit-in at McCrory's. And there they are. They sat there, they came in the morning. They were still sitting there when McCrory's closed for the day. Never served. They just waited. Keep going. And if you see in the back, the police started to move them, to arrest them, to take them out for a quiet sit-in demonstration. Go ahead. And outside, there were 100 college students who began a series of protests, calm, quiet protests, carrying signs. And they took up that momentum, and from that one sit-in, there became sit-ins all over the South, just like that. Go ahead. They were taken directly from the courtroom and sentenced to 1 month in prison, chained to each other while doing mandatory labor. The NAACP and an organization called CORE and other students continued the protest until the following day, McCrory's permanently closed their counter. The students started to sing spirituals to keep their spirits up, but when they wouldn't stop singing, they were placed in solitary confinement. Go ahead. And can someone read this letter from one of the students to his mom?
That what I'm doing is right. I'll start over. Dear Mom and Dad, try to understand that what I'm doing is right. It isn't like going to jail for a crime like stealing or killing, but we are going for the betterment of all Negroes.
Solitary was a 12 by 12 foot room with a commode, a sink, and a drinking cup. So, was that freedom? Think about that definition. Power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Freedom to, freedom from, freedom of being. They didn't have that. Next slide. So General Granger gave his order. And the order says a lot of things. It says they have absolute equality of personal rights. They've changed from master-slave to a worker and their employer. They are advised to remain at their present homes and work for wages, and they're informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts. They can't be idle. But look at it again. Next slide. So it says slaves are free. But were they free? This involves equality of personal rights and rights of property. They had no personal rights. They had no property. When they were let out, there was nothing. They had absolutely nothing. They were supposed to be in a changed connection from slave and slave owner to employer and laborer. But that was a rule given to the enslaved person, not to the master. The rule was not, you must begin to pay your formerly enslaved people. You must consider them as hired workers and not as an enslaved person. They never got that order. The enslaved people got the order that that's what it was supposed to be. But as was shown in that video, can you imagine an enslaved person saying, I'm free now? And the slave owner says, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, yes, you must pay me. Oh, no, 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 no. Because they didn't have that responsibility. It said, remain for wages, but that meant that basically you were in the exact same position, because if the slave owner was not going to pay you, you were an enslaved person working for nothing, with nothing. Many enslaved people were killed, were threatened to be killed and then killed if they left. It was said historically that it is one of the greatest lynchings of all time, was right after that order from General Granger. So someone said, while the order was critical to expanding freedom to enslaved people, the racist language used in the sentences foreshadowed that the fight for equal rights was still on and would continue. The words gave license to arrest and jail anybody for loitering, for hanging out, for saying, oh my gosh, I don't have anything. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? You could get imprisoned for that and then placed under the exact same conditions that you were in, only in a jail rather than in someone's house. So is that freedom? I submit not. I submit not. Next slide. You could continue even now if those words in that amendment still sit on the books. No one has changed them. So you could still be imprisoned for a crime and be subjected to the same situation as an enslaved person. Go ahead. So what is Juneteenth for? What does it do? It helps us to remember the harsh reality of silence. There was silence from the time of the creation of the Emancipation Proclamation in September 1862 to Galveston, Texas on June 19th, to December in 1865 when it was ratified. There was silence. People didn't know. And it was a freedom that was their God-given freedom from birth that they didn't have, and people didn't know, and many people didn't stand up. It allows us to commemorate the work leading up to Juneteenth, because there were people in the South and the North who were fighting for freedom, Black and white. And that is something that we continue to do even now, because the freedom that one might have as a white male person is greater than the freedom that one has as a white female person, is greater than the freedom that one has as a person of color on any given day. The imagined freedom that you may have every day when you walk outside your door and you get into your car and you go down the street is not the freedom that many people of color have any day. I can remember being in my car, I don't know how much time I have, I can remember being in my car with my son and my daughter, and we had the child lock in the back seat because my granddaughter would have been there, but she wasn't. But her car seat was there and the child lock was on. My daughter was sitting on that side, and so my son was dropping her off at the store and then we were going home. She went to get out and she couldn't because the door was locked. So he pulled up by the store and got out of the car to go around to open the door for her so that she could get out. There were 2 police cars who came, lights blaring. And I thought, what the heck? And the officer said, what are you doing? And my son said, I'm opening the door for my sister. And he said, no, what are you doing? And I thought, oh, shoot. And so I was trying to get out, and he said, stay in the car. And my daughter was trying to roll the window down, but she couldn't. And my son just kept saying, I'm opening the door for my sister. The door's locked, and she can't get out. And I'm screaming, try the door, to the officer, who finally goes around and opens the door so my daughter could say, my brother was doing a nice thing that brothers don't always do, and he was coming around to open the door for me. And the officer froze, and I said, why did you choose my son? What was he doing that brought the question without you giving him the ability to answer? Because he was trying to answer you. What made you freeze and stop and not accept the things that he was saying? I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And that's a situation that has happened more than once. And my son is one of those people who will never, he came with me to the 4th of July parade and there were refreshments for the judges, and I told him he could have my donut because I wasn't going to have one, and he said, oh no, because it's supposed to be for the judges. He's someone who always obeyed. And so it wasn't that he had a record, it wasn't that he looked like he was going to do something wrong, but he was chosen unfairly, unjustly. That's not free. Remember, no one is free if we're not all free. No one is free if we're not all free. Everyone's stuck in the car with the door locked if everybody can't get out. Until everyone can get out, we're not free. And if we throw away that and we say, oh, let's have a celebration, we forget the things that we need to remember, that the quest for freedom is an ongoing process that all of us are engaged in, whether you feel good or not about what happens in your day. It's your responsibility, and it's my responsibility until everyone doesn't have to have that responsibility anymore. The struggle for freedom is a radical act. And when we commemorate Juneteenth, knowing that it was a radical act, then we understand, actually, it wasn't a day of freedom, it was a day of an announcement. That's what it was. And if people of color have to celebrate something, then they celebrate the fact that somebody at least recognized that people of color were people. And that in itself brought about the Emancipation Proclamation. That in itself brought about the announcement. And that we need to recognize. I'm going over a couple minutes. As humans, we tend to have the audacity to believe that we have the right to determine when and who can be free. We have the audacity to say that we're all free when we're not all free. We have the audacity to determine that what we consider freedom must be what everybody else considers as freedom. We have the audacity to feel that we have the right to put a price on human life. We have the audacity to determine that that price can be 0 or less. We have the audacity to have the right to take time in silence over someone else's lack of freedom. We have the audacity to believe that we can forget that our everyday freedoms are not everyone's every day. Next slide. Those are the same students. So I'm going to say their names. And as I say their names, I want you, if you can, feel free to stand up in solidarity. John Gaines, Willie McLeod, James Wells, Tom Gaither, Robert McCullough, David Williamson Jr., Clarence Graham, Willie Massey, Mac Workman. They are an indication that Juneteenth is part of a trajectory, that July 4th is part of a limited trajectory, the struggle for freedom, the steps toward freedom. With it, we are reminded that our knowledge and allyship are our continued tools, that courage takes us along that trajectory, and freedom is not achieved, but is our common goal. Amen.
Oh, big sigh. Thank you. I grew up in the South. I used to go to Galveston. I have a very different feeling about it, and I appreciate that.
Our prayer chaplains are available after today's service to provide personal prayer support. If you are a prayer chaplain serving today, please stand. Our prayer chaplains wear the lavender stoles.
Whether you have, I'm sorry?
Our prayer chaplains may need prayer support today. Can work both ways.
Whether you have a joy or a concern in your heart today, praying with our prayer chaplain is a potential and powerful opportunity to have your intentions raised up in consciousness.
Reverend Kristen asked me to say a few words about why I go to Unity, why I give to Unity, why I serve on the board of directors at Unity. And so I'd like to share a few words about why I give to Unity, both financially and otherwise. The most basic reason is simply that I am in a loving and committed relationship with Unity of Walnut Creek. You're it, all of you right here. From the first time I attended a Unity worship service in 2004, I knew at a soul level that Unity was my spiritual and community home. Every week, we acknowledge that Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. Unity is a positive path and supports me on my personal, idiosyncratic, unique, and sometimes erratic spiritual path. My Unity home has been the fertile soil where my spiritual nature has taken root and drawn nourishment. You, my Unity community, are like sunshine and water, always helping me grow in mindfulness and spiritual awareness. And I thank you for that. In a minute or two, we're going to acknowledge the law of circulation. As we give, we shall receive. In truth, there is no lack or limitation. Abundance is our true nature. We rip by that every week, rather quickly sometimes, but I want to pause and tell you that I personally experienced the truth of this spiritual law. The more I give, the more I receive. Saying yes to unity leads to good things in my life. Unity was here for me at a time in my life when I was experiencing challenges, serious challenges. And unity has been here for me through all the ups and downs, surges and slips, and moments of enlightenment and discouragement ever since. And I know that's true for many other people who are sitting here, and many other people who have sat here in the past, and many people who will sit here. And I want unity to be here for other people who come here facing challenges. I want unity to be a place where other people can feel love and support and put down roots and be nourished and grow and prosper and bloom. I want unity to be a place where other people can plug into and be part of real community. And that, my spiritual friends, is why I give to unity. Now, let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation. As I mentioned, as we give, we shall receive. There is no lack or limitation. Abundance is our true nature.
For your convenience, there are a variety of ways to financially give to this community, shown on the screen in front of you. And for those of you watching online, there is a donate button on the Watch Live page. And we encourage everyone to avoid the fees that those apps charge by setting up an automatic giving to Unity through your bank's bill pay system.
Now, I hope all of you followed our instruction to set up automatic bill pay with your bank, and maybe you'll take one of those gold cards in the back of the chair in front of you, or your tithe in your hand, and repeat this affirmation together. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful.
Thank you.
This ain't coming from no prophet, just an ordinary woman. When I close my eyes, I see the way this world shall be when we all walk hand in hand. When the last child cries for a crust of bread, when the last man dies for just words that he said, when there's shelter over the poorest head, then we shall be free. When the last thing we notice is the color of skin, and the first thing we look for is the beauty within, when the sky and the oceans are clean again, then we shall be free. Shall be free. We shall be free. Stand straight and walk proud, 'cause we shall be free. When we're free to love anyone that we choose, when this world's big enough for we shall be free. We shall be free. We shall be free. So have a little faith and hold out, 'cause we shall be free. And when money talks for the very last time, and nobody walks a step behind, when there's only one race, humankind, then we shall be free. We shall be free. We shall be free. Stand straight, have a little faith. We shall be free. We shall be free. We shall be free. Stand straight and have a little faith. 'Cause we shall be free. We shall be free. We shall be free. Stand straight, have a little faith. 'Cause we shall be free. We shall be free. We shall be free.
We just have the best music here at Unity, don't we?
Yeah.
Thank you, Wendy, Lisa. As we bless this offering, we bless the giver and the gift, that it may go forth and multiply and increase the good in our lives and the lives of those we touch. Together, we give thanks for the ever-increasing, constant flow of absolute good in our lives now.
Kids, we are a circle of love. We are a circle of light. Come join the circle of love. Come join the circle of light. The light in you and the light in me are one. The light in you and the light in me are one.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Genevieve, and I'm filling in for Michelle today. Good morning. For the little kids today, we talked about meditation, and we made like a meditation paths with our pen, all kinds of different designs. And I can see already that Gracie wants to share. So,
Today, when we were making our meditations, we were using colorful pens to make our different ideas, because we all have different ideas, and it's good to have different ideas, or else it would be boring if we had the same ideas. We made things to calm ourselves with pens and also glittery pens.
awesome. Anybody else? Okay. Mike, do you want to share?
Adele was our lone Unitine today, and so she opted to go in with the littles. So she had fun. And then I had a new friend come join me for a little bit as I sat in the Unitine room. Aiden here had a blast in there, and then he went and got some food, and then he wanted to walk up here. So we're here.
Let's bless our children together. Children and teachers, we love you, we bless you, We appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you.
All right, we're going to close with I Choose Love. Please rise in body or spirit. Let your neighbor know if you like to hold hands or if you're going to take this in to your heart. Here we go. Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present. It's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Love's always present. It's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
You are the light, the love, and the peace on earth right now. So let your light shine. Have fun and spread joy.